Everyone, this short video is going to situate you in week 2 of Rhetoric 6620, Writing Assessment Theory and Practice. We're doing something a little odd this week, and I just kind of want to explain what it is that we're doing and kind of set it up in the context of the rest of the class. So I'm asking you all to create your own assignment prompt for the final project of this class. And you don't usually write your own assignment prompts, but this is a class about assessment. And it's a class where for the final project, you can do something that's really theoretical. Like if you want to do a research project about an assessment practice, about assessment in the context of a specific student group, you can do that. But I want everybody, and because you have that option, I do want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to develop an assignment prompt, because I think an important part of assessment is making sure that you're developing learning activities and summative and formative assessments that are ethical, that are communicated effectively, and that follow some good practices, and good practices you'll come across this week. So activity 2.1 this week is going to be about developing just a writing prompt. And for this class, like the writing prompt that you're going to develop this week is going to be for the final project in the class. So usually there are learning outcomes that you need to come up with and align an assignment to, at least at the college level. Like, we're developing learning outcomes. We're aligning them usually with a program learning outcome or a general education program learning outcome. And we're making sure that our assessments are dovetailing with that broader learning outcome. If you're at the high school level, there are standards, there's state stuff going on, there's school district stuff going on that you need to make sure that your assignments are aligning to. For the assignment this week, you're aligning things with the prompt that you're going to write this week. You're aligning it with the learning outcome for this class, like the learning outcomes for this class. So in the syllabus, there you'll see the learning outcomes, and you have also some guidelines for developing your prompt for the final project of this class. So activity 2.1, there's a number of different texts out there that I think are pretty helpful. Tracy Gardner's book about teaching writing. It's written mostly for high school educators, but I think it holds up for everybody. I know that every time I reread it, I come across things that I find particularly useful. Also, the first 2 chapters of White and Rights, and I don't have that book on me right now, but I PDF those 2 chapters. They're pretty helpful. Some of their stuff, particularly when they talk about tech, gets a little outdated, but there's also some helpful things in there. So you're going to read those texts, and you're going to develop your own assignment prompt for the final project. Again, I want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to do that, even if for the final project you develop something that is more theoretical, it's more argument-based, and it's less practical, like revising an assessment practice for a class. So that's activity 2.1. 2.2 is about putting together an assessment instrument. So rubrics, like, it's probably what you think of when you think of an assessment instrument. Analytic rubrics is usually what you think of. There's a video that I have in activity 2.2 that introduces you to several different types of assessment instruments. I talk a fair bit about analytic rubrics, but there are others out there. 3-point rubrics, which I think are really fascinating, and checklists. Like, there's other things that we can do that I think are a little bit more creative, that can save us time, and I think can also effectively communicate to students what it is that we want them to learn. So activity 2.2 is about sketching out and putting together a draft of a assessment instrument for the prompt that you're going to write in activity 2.1. So you're working on the final project, but I really want to make sure that you're learning something about writing effective assignment prompts and developing assessment instruments. Activity 2. So those are the 2 big things for this week. Activity 2.3 is just emailing me to set up a time to meet in week 3. So I want to talk to everybody about their assignment prompt and about their assessment instrument. And activity 2.3 is just emailing me to set that up during week 3 of the class. Activities 2.1 and 2.2, there's a fair bit of labor to them. Stuff to read, stuff to watch, to think about. with activity 2.1, you're going to put together your assignment prompt, and then you're also going to comment on a peers and kind of connect your peers prompt with things that you've learned this week. So a lot going on this week. This is a week that I think several of you are going to want to come back to, particularly the supplemental resources. There's a whole thing about developing your own learning outcomes, making sure you're aligning assignments with those learning outcomes. Those are things we're not going to get into a ton this week. I mentioned them briefly, I think, in one of the videos, one of the other videos for this week. So you might want to come back to this week or take a quick look at the supplemental resources this week, because if you're doing something practical for the final project related to a class that you're going to teach, the supplemental resources have, I think, some helpful resources for you to take a look at. That's it. I just kind of wanted to hopefully connect some of the dots this week. Hope y'all are doing well. Hope you're getting something out of the course. This is a little weird thing that I'm asking y'all to do, coming up with your own assignment prompt. And if you're a little lost or you just kind of want to chat, reach out. Be happy to speak with you. All right. That's it for now. Talk to y'all soon.